Hello everyone and welcome to another video. Now it has been a little while since I posted a video, but that is all for good reason. My car has been here at Forge Motorsport for about a month now while they've been working and developing new parts for the I30N DCT. Now Paul and the guys have invited me down to go around exactly what they've been developing. Now I'm really excited to see. I haven't really had a look yet, so yeah, let's have a look at what they've been doing. So I'm joined here with Paul from Forge. Thank you, mate, for having me down and explaining through what you've been doing. Have you been having some fun with it?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So yeah, thank you for lending us the vehicle again.
My pleasure.
Yeah, no, so it was quite a fascinating one, this, because to see the differences with the phase 2, if you will, of the I30N. The DTC gearbox has definitely brought a few new challenges, and there have been quite a few changes actually to our product range. Intercooler was the main objective when we first had the car in to see how we can make this fit, because we'd heard that they don't fit, and it was quite clear to see as soon as we got up in the air with the DTC gearbox we got a lot more going on. Yeah, it protrudes far closer to the intercooler, and even Hyundai have changed the cold side of the cooler. We're having a sharp radius bend which bolts onto the OE cooler, so kind of use that as inspiration. So this has got a new hose. We redesigned this hose now for our intercooler kit. It's still going to be INT 15 cooler itself.
So the sizes are exactly the same as the previous?
Yeah. So the intercooler is exactly as you were. It's spaced out 8mm to 10mm off the top of my head, if I remember now. So we supply it with some spacers to bring it out slightly due to the change in the radiator behind.
Sure.
And then we've redesigned the cold side hose to go onto the existing hard pipe to the throttle body. We also, in turn, when we had it in, then redesigned BP4, which is going to be BP10. And this one here is a mock-up, your one. The design is slightly changed, but this was just so we could get it on the dyno.
And that's the enlarged?
Yeah, so exactly. So we found that on the phase 2 of the I30N on this newer model, it had an increased in diameter from the earlier model, and this is slightly larger again. From testing, you get a little bit of a gain on there. Once you start mapping for stage 2, I think it's going to be quite an important thing. Yeah. What was quite interesting to see that is Hyundai obviously felt the need to enlarge this pipe from where they were before, to get just better flow, frankly. So there's going to be a new one of those, new intercooler parts, but the cooler is going to be the same. Cool. Then we had the oil cooler. This was quite a redesign actually, because of the DTC gearbox. It's got a DTC cooler. Sure. And where the in and the outputs on OC11 are where it comes going towards the rad, we are now coming out the side. Cool. And to make it fit nicely, you have to cut some of your shrouding going to the radiator pack. So we've incorporated in the design of the cooler now a ducting to replace that. So it's all nice. It looks real smart when it's fitted out. Sure, I will add a photo of that to my Instagram, so I do have some photos of that off the absolutely. Car. Yeah, cool, yes. Brake lines are as you were, exactly the same. Brakes, however, are different. They are? So I know I am going to come back for a set of your big brake kit. Yes, absolutely. So Ray came down and did all the measurements and got all the data needed. There are some changes. So we are going to, I say Ray will be on the SolidWorks, and he will be doing some new carriers. And I'm not sure if we've got to change the offset of the bow. I don't think we do. I think it's exactly the same. So I think it's just carriers that need a redesign. Cool. But I will confirm that once he has told me what's going on with that. Cool. I got to say though, I thought these were not as good as they were before.
No.
I don't know why.
No,
even when you really stand on them, it's like
yeah,
they're not as good as
aesthetically nicer. They feel the wheel a bit better.
Yes, the bigger disc. Yeah, I think it's the pad. I'm sure with a set of lines and a decent pad in there, they won't be half bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know what it was. It just didn't fill me with a great deal of confidence actually this time when you really press on with it. Especially now it goes as well as it does.
Yeah, I think that's another adding factor, isn't it? It's how much quicker it is.
Absolutely. I mean, the map John's done is very nice. I've got to say, very smooth, very linear.
Yeah.
It drives really well, this car.
Yeah.
But yeah, the only weak link that I could really feel or thought improvement was the brake system. Yeah, definitely worth investigating there. So we've put a set of our braided lines and put some of the Castrol race fluid in there.
Nice.
So yeah, so that's a starting point.
Yep.
Like I say, slap a big set of stoppers on there.
Yeah.
Be doing endos next.
Yeah.
Right, should I bring the...
Yeah, let's bring the car down. Let's have a look from the top.
Absolutely.
I'm not sure if we can see the cooler through there. And even nicer is that oil cooler. You can just see it on camera, I think. But this is the most impressive part. So it looks aesthetically very similar to the pre-facelift I had. Obviously,
absolutely.
different coloured hoses.
Yeah. It's very much as you were, isn't it, really? So where are we up here? So coolant hoses. As you say, yeah, they're red, not blue this time round. This bottom coolant hose here doesn't fit. That has changed. So we're going to look into that. The rest of the coolant hoses fit up as you were, as you did. TIA3, so the enlarged elbow and the intake.
Which is highly weighted for. I've had a lot of people asking me about the turbo elbow on the DCT.
So the intake fits up fine, no issues there. We'd already had a few customers buy them and fitted them up anyway, so we knew that was good. TIA3 fits up fine, however, internally, it needs to be bored out. It's not, so it does need to be enlarged to match the large turbo.
Yeah.
So we've put yours on the lathes, spun it out so that it's now matched.
Cool.
It's fine and ready to go. We are doing a redesign. Part number off the top of my head, I can't bloody remember now. I think it's TIA10 maybe, but we're going to have a new one anyway.
Sure.
The silicone hose will be exactly the same. The machine part is the same, bar the internal diameter is now enlarged.
Sure.
There was a 3 mil difference.
Okay, so
yeah, it's when you start squeezing, when you start really, turning the wick right up, these are the things that start making a difference. You do need to get these bang on. CT5, as you were,
beautiful,
fitted up.
Kit.
It is badass. We do. It's cool. Carbon engine cover. Last one, yes. Excuse the scratch, but it was the only one I had left. Yeah, it's a last off. We won't be doing any more now. Intake, we haven't changed. We left it as it was, mainly because it does work quite well. It sounds wicked. It looks mental.
The part, doesn't it?
Yeah,
absolutely.
It. People love the look. There's obviously been that age-old debate about a heat shield, but yes, if you're sat in traffic, it'll probably get a bit hot. But as soon as you start moving,
you've got airflow.
It cools right down, and actually doesn't. All the testing we did on the dyno, it didn't make any odds really. So we tried to keep the price point down with that to make it, better value for money. And we've sold a lot of them, and they do work really well. So it's
awesome. It's
pretty good all round. And the valve, the trusty Forge valves, buried down in there. You have it in recirc mode. That fits on as you were. So again, that's that hasn't changed. I am trying to flirt with the idea of getting some done and anodized in red.
Ooh.
But they work really well, and to match our anodized red oil caps that we do now. Again, you've gone for the more stealth look, matching it there with the black. But yeah, all in all, it's gone pretty well.
Awesome.
yeah, it was a bit more work than I first thought. I must admit, I thought, you know, we rattled this out pretty quickly, but there were a few more obstacles to get it right, to make sure that everything fitted as well as it could without massive redesigns.
Sure. Yeah. So if someone wanted to buy some stuff now with the DCT, we've got the valve currently which fits straight on, and the intake that fits straight on.
And catch can, CT5, brake lines.
Yeah.
TIA 10 it will be, I'm sure. That's going to be very, very soon. Ray's done the CAD drawing for that.
Cool.
We'll have those on the mills, getting those knocked out pretty shortly. Sure. But yeah, there's a fair few bits available now, but there will be bits shortly.
Sure, awesome. Okay, well, I just really can't wait to get this back to Courtney Sport, see what improvements we can make, see what more power we can make. As John's explained in my last video, he's seen big gains with the air intake, the efficiency of the intercooler is just going to make huge improvement. So thank you, Paul. Thank you for having me down.
Pleasure. Thank you very much for letting us loose on your car.
And I'll see you soon when I come back to get that big brake kit on. Brilliant, mate. Thank you very much.
No worries.
Cheers. Okay, so first drive. Paul has taken the car out of the workshop for me, and let's see what it sounds like. As you can see, Forge's brand spanking new I30N in front of us. That will be on the channel later when they have developed some parts for it. Okay. We can hear that intake straight away. So typically it's March and it's supposed to be a bit sunnier here in the UK, but it is horrendous, which isn't great for the video. I wanted to get a bit of power down and test these new parts out. But nevertheless, we will give it a go. It feels very weird being in this car. I had a rented Hyundai Iconic hybrid for a month, which was interesting to say the least. So things that are most notable straight away, obviously the intake sounds brilliant. The oil temperature is dramatically lower. So something that I noticed driving back from Courtney Sport the other day is that the oil temperature runs hotter than my old pre-facelift. It runs much closer to the 100, even just cruising on the motorway at 70 miles an hour. So if you have a DCT I30N and you intend to do any track work with it whatsoever, you are going to need an oil cooler. And from previous experience with the same core oil cooler that is on the DCT version that I did have on the pre-facelift, it is going to be very, very efficient. So to summarise, everything is fitted to this car that will be available for the DCT version of the I30N. Some parts are already available which will fit right away, which are the intake and the blow-off valve. Now the turbo elbow, some people have messaged me and they already have the turbo elbow fitted to their facelift I30N. Now, as Paul mentioned, the bore on the facelift turbo is larger because of the inlets larger on the facelift turbo. So if you have already purchased this, nothing to worry about. You can send your CNC machine parts back to Forge and they will bore out the inlet size for you. So if you shoot them an email, I'm sure it won't be a problem at all and they will provide that service. The other parts will be coming in the next few months. There are some that are R&D on this car, so Forge will have my car back in a few months' time when I'll get my big brake kit put on, give them a once over and ready for the parts to go into production. A great thing about Forge Motorsport hardware is that it's guaranteed for life. So if you ever have any problems, you shoot them an email and no questions asked, you will get a replacement if the part has been faulty. So with the benefits from the intercooler and the air intake, especially with the enlarged boost pipe, I'm really looking forward to getting back to Courtney Sport to see how far the car can be pushed. Now John's made about 390 brake with very, very similar modifications. So anything close to that, or maybe even more, would be absolutely fantastic. And to be honest, 400 is absolutely plenty in a car of this size, and especially since it's front wheel drive. So the next coming videos, I have got a Club Sport pack coming from Stern Performance, which I'm really excited to receive and to fit. So there'll be a video featuring that, along with a track day that I've got booked later in the year, as well as the Courtney Sport video where I go back to have this car stage 2 mapped with all the hardware put in. So if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you don't want to miss what's coming up next, please remember to subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.